Hey everybody, Michael Carnahan here, and I love to talk about real estate. It is an international topic. Everybody needs a place to live, and so some of the questions that I get to answer on a one-on-one basis with clients, but when it's an important question, I like to share it with you guys. I want to really get the information out there and just let you have it so that you are the most informed you can be going into the buying or selling situation in our real estate market. And so today's question, the main part of the question is, what if there are appraisal issues? What is that process? What happens? Who's responsible for what? So there are three typical issues that might arise. One is you appraised for too much money, over the asking price. Another one is you appraised for not enough money, under the asking price. And then finally, what if there are repair issues? So the appraiser may find things that need to be repaired before they will sign off on the appraisal. Okay, so starting from there, let's cover the first one. The first one is, what if your house that you are buying appraises for more than the list price? Do you have to pay more money? Is the seller going to ask for more money? Well, there's a couple of different things to look at here. The first thing is, your appraisal you paid for, and so the seller isn't even entitled to that appraisal. They're not entitled to see it. The only situation in which they would need to see it would be if there was an issue where it appraised for less money or if there were repairs required. So if it appraised for more money and if there are no repairs required, then there's no reason to show it to the seller. It's your product, it's your material, and you're not required to share it. So if the seller doesn't know that it appraised for more money, then there's no reason to worry about the seller asking for more money. Additionally, even if the seller did find out about it, there is no requirement for you to raise the price. That would cause issues, potentially ending in default. So let's say the seller found out it appraised for more and demands more money and says, well, I'm not going to sell you the house now if you don't pay more money. That's a whole nother issue. That's a legal issue. You can avoid all of that by just keeping it private, not sharing that information, and enjoying the fact that you have instant equity in your home. So if your home is purchase price $200,000 and it appraises for $205,000 or $210,000, you have instantly $5,000 or $10,000 of extra equity that you didn't know you were going to have. All right, so that's the answer to that part. For the next part, what if it appraises for less? There are typically a few different scenarios here. The seller is not required to sell it for less than they are asking for. However, your lender will not give you more money in your loan than the value of the home. So if you're buying a $200,000 home and the home appraised for $190,000 or $195,000, the lender is not going to give you a loan for a $200,000 home. So you have to go back to the seller and ask for the seller to lower the price to the appraised value, which is also known as the market value. It's quite possible that the seller was thinking that their home was worth more than it really is, possibly because they have a personal interest in the home. It's been their home, or they've put a lot of money into the home, and so it's reasonable and understandable. However, the market will only bear what the market will bear. And so an appraiser is hired by the bank giving the loan so that that appraiser, an independent party, comes in and determines the market value, the fair market value of the home. If the seller understands that, the seller will likely reduce the price and you will have a new price for the home. If, on the other hand, the seller insists on keeping the price where it is, you will have two options: walk away from that deal or come up with the cash to pay the difference. Most people don't want to pay the cash to pay the difference because they understand that the market value is the market value, and why would they pay more than the home is worth? At the same time, some people have a lot invested in the process already at that point, such as home inspection, multiple other inspections, termite inspection. They may have been looking for a home for a long time, and this is the ideal home for them and the ideal location. It also might be a situation where obviously they've already paid for the appraisal, so they've got some money in the process. So they may want to come up with some extra cash to satisfy the seller. Another alternative is somewhat of a compromise. So what if the seller for that $5,000 difference will take half of the difference and split the difference with you. Or maybe they'll take $1,000 or $2,000, etc. So that's another option for you. Ultimately though, if you can't come to a consensus, if you can't agree, then the problem is that the lender is not in a position to give you a loan for more than the home is worth. So that creates a dilemma, and you may have to move on and search for another home. All right, the next issue is appraisal issues. So what if the appraiser comes in and finds safety-related issues, such as a handrail missing or a receptacle cover is missing, something along those lines. Or in the case of an FHA loan, it could be that the appraiser comes in and determines that there's chipping and peeling paint, which could create a lead paint issue or some such other issue. So those folks can answer for themselves really what issues they might find. I'm not an appraiser and I'm not qualified to tell you all of the issues that there are, but those are just, in my experience, some of the issues that have arisen in the past. So if that happens, then you have to go back to the seller and ask the seller to fix those things in order for the house to really appraise. Now, depending on the type of loan you're using, you may have filled out a form as part of your offer documents, which became part of the contract. And in that form, you talk specifically about the type of loan. Let's say, again, it's an FHA loan. There is a section in there that says, if lender repairs are required, Mr. and Ms. Seller, we're asking you in advance, please agree to pay up to X amount of dollars for those repairs. Not home inspection repairs, but appraisal repairs. So that's a very important distinction as well, by the way. So the seller may have agreed in advance to pay for $500 or $1,000 worth of repairs. And so that won't really be an issue. They're going to go ahead and make those repairs, and the appraiser is going to come back out and say, okay, those repairs are made, and then the appraiser will sign off on that appraisal. And then your loan process can move forward. Of course, the appraiser is going to charge the bank another fee for coming back out, which the bank is going to very politely pass right on to you, the buyer. So be aware of that. Moving into those types of repairs, if you have a situation where you've purchased a home as is, or you've purchased a home and the seller has not agreed in advance to make those repairs, then you're going to have to ask the seller to make those repairs. Or if it's as is, let's say you're buying a foreclosure property and using an FHA loan, and the seller is unwilling to make any repairs, then you may be stuck. You may be in a situation where you just can't move forward on that loan. You may need to ask the seller if it would be okay and if you could have written permission to make the repairs yourself, using a contractor most likely. And so there again, you have multiple options. And I think that that's kind of the overall point of this whole video, is there can be appraisal issues, there can be home inspection issues, and all kinds of other issues. But if you approach it with a hopeful attitude, and if you realize that there are options, then you might just still be okay, and you might be able to get this deal done anyway. And hopefully the buyer and the seller can come to a consensus on all of these different things that we've discussed, and that your deal can continue on and you will become a happy and successful homeowner. I hope that's helpful to everyone. I will cover similar questions from the seller perspective in another video, and I hope that you guys will continue to reach out to me by text, email, Instagram, direct message me. Let me know what your questions are, because this is what I do every day, and I love to answer these questions. So again, please feel free to reach out anytime. I hope this is useful to you, and that your real estate journey is a successful one. All right, take care.